Shazia Hobbs is a journalist for Alt News Media, the author of The Gori's Daughter, and the global leader in a campaign against child abuse within the Muslim community. And she talks to us today on the James Okocha Show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Shazia, we know who you are, but a lot of people who watch this show, maybe they don't know who you are. So could you introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, my name's Shazia Hobbs. I am the author of The Gori's Daughter, and I also write for Alt News Media.
Okay. Now, we've got you on the show today to talk about a pretty heavy topic, child rape within the Muslim community. Now, I mean, the first question is, what's going on?
I'm really vocal about this. It's something that's never really discussed. I'd written an article a little while last year. I think I'd written an article, "Stop Raping Our Children," about the rape gangs. So the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs in the UK aren't going to just be raping white children. They're going to be raping children in their own community. So I thought I would have a look and see what stats there were to give me an idea. And in the UK, we don't keep stats for the rape of Pakistani Muslim children. But in Pakistan, they keep stats. They've kept stats for the last 17, 18 years. It's something that's not discussed. It's something, and then, I have to always say not all, because people will say, oh, you generalise, and, only an idiot would think every single Pakistani man or woman is raping children. So when a Pakistani girl is raped by a member of the family or a member of the community, the first thing for most of the family members is, who's going to marry my daughter if somebody finds out? Because virginity is such an important, it's such an important thing. So their first thought is not to protect the child or to comfort their child. It's who's going to marry this child. Their first thought is not to report the paedophile or the rapist. So yeah, and I grew up in the Pakistani Muslim community as well, so I kind of know a lot of what their mindset's like.
Yeah. So Shazia, why do you think, you said that in the UK we're not recording these statistics? Is this because people are not reporting it to the British authorities?
It's very rarely reported, yeah. Really rarely reported. Again, just that whole culture of shame and honour, which stops people from reporting it. But that then kind of baffles me, because I think it doesn't stop them in Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, in some ways, the Pakistani community in the UK is more traditional than the community in Pakistan. Is that... Why?
It seems like it, doesn't it? And I think a lot of, our Pakistani Muslim counsellors and probably stop it as well. I've heard lots of people talk, and they'll say that if they do go, if it is reported, then a lot of police are told and safeguarding agencies are told that it's cultural, and that word, cultural, can be enough to turn people away, to make the police not investigate further, or...
It's terrible, it's terrible. So, is this... Do you feel like the police don't investigate these in comparison to investigating other parts of the UK population's sex crimes?
Yeah, if your white Scottish neighbour reported, I'm in Scotland, so, or white British, somebody in the UK reported an uncle had raped his niece, the police are going to come and investigate. You're not going to say it's cultural, it's our business, you don't investigate. So Muslim communities are given special treatment in the UK. It's so blatantly obvious. When you look at FGM and the rape of Muslim children.
So why is it the Muslim community in particular, why not the community, the Sikh community, Hindu community? Why is it only the Muslim community that have this special treatment, do you think?
Or is it only the
Muslim community? It's the only community I know of that has special treatment. I don't really know, what happens in any other community.
But what do you have any idea why?
Do you think that perhaps the police find them to be an intimidating community? Because there's certainly some mob action, right?
Yeah.
In response to police action.
I've spoke about this before as well. So when I died in the 60s, like my dad's Pakistani Muslim, and he arrived here in the 60s, there was like the mass immigration, we needed workers, so loads of men came over and women, but loads of men came over initially from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. They weren't meant to stay. They didn't come here to stay. They came here to make a little bit of money and then to go back home. But once they got here and they realised that one really, really bad day in the UK was worth 10 good days back home, because back home, if you don't work, you don't eat, your children don't go to school, you don't get any medical treatment, you don't have a roof over your head. In the UK, we have the NHS, we have benefits, so there was a lot of that, and I think the police allowed them to self-govern because they thought this little community, this Muslim community, they're not going to stay. And a lot of the Muslim, and again, not all, but they don't integrate. Integration is not a big thing for them. You're not allowed to be friends with the infidels, the kafars.
Has it...
So
sorry, continue. Well, has it always been like this? Because I seem to remember when I was younger, I met a lot of Pakistani immigrants who seemed to be westernised and seemed to at least say a lot that they wanted to integrate. But now I seem to meet people who are a bit more hostile to the idea.
Yeah, I think when my dad's generation arrived, we had no satellite TV as well, which is really, really important. So there were lots of Muslims, and there are lots of Muslims that do integrate, that have friends that are all different colours and races, and I think a lot of it had to do with satellite TV and all these Muslim channels beaming into people's homes. And then a lot of people talk about Saudi money coming into the UK in the late 90s. Because when I was growing up as well, we were really colourful. So we wore the Asian clothes, the shalwar kameez, and they're all, the long dresses and the trousers underneath. But they were really bright, really colourful clothes. And now it just seems like it's a sea of black, like the niqab and the hijabs.
Is that a Saudi thing?
Yeah.
That's a Saudi thing.
I don't know if it's just a Saudi thing, because people talk about, Wahhabism, and then there's the Deobandi Muslims from Pakistan. And also, when I was growing up as well, we were just Muslims. We weren't raised to be Sunnis or have a hatred towards Shias, and there's all of that sort of stuff that goes on as well.
So that sectarianism is new in the UK then? Sort of.
Sorry?
The sectarian sort of divide, it's a new arrival in the UK?
Probably from like the late 90s, early 2000s.
I didn't know that. So, I think we can talk a bit more about now some of the stories that you experienced when you were working with victims of this abuse.
I volunteered for a BME, Black Minority Ethnic Charity in Glasgow, that raised awareness of child sex abuse in the communities. And there was a helpline as well. But you had to be over 16 to call it, which I always thought was really bizarre, because what if you were 12 and you were being sexually abused by your uncle or by the imam at the mosque? Who do you call? Childline's really good, but it doesn't understand the cultural and again, it's that word, isn't it? There is culture, you know. If you're a little Pakistani boy that phones Childline and says the imam at the mosque is sexually abusing me, they don't understand the whole taboo and the shame, and you know, you can't just go and tell your family about it. So anyway, I volunteered for this charity, and we used to go and raise awareness at different events with different safeguarding agencies, and this lady will stay with me for the rest of my life. So we had a victim, she was in her 40s, that used to come in and share her story. And she had been raped from the age of 7 until she was 12. She lived in England, and what would happen was that all the sisters would bring their children to this one house, and all the children would stay in the house while the sisters went out shopping and doing whatever they were doing. And the boy in the house, this woman's son, would look after all the children, and he was raping the children. He was in his early 20s. And she said that, and this just sums up the mentality. So the boy's mum had came back early one day and walked into the room, into the bedroom, and her son was raping her niece. And she walked out and shut the door. So when this girl turned 11 or 12, her family moved up to Glasgow, and her older brother was going to Glasgow University, so they moved up to Glasgow, and she just got on with it. She never really spoke to anybody about it. She got married, she took children, and when she was 40 years old, she had a massive breakdown. Everything had, obviously, the trauma, the stress, everything came back, and she had a massive breakdown. Told her husband, told her mum, who were really, really supportive, went to the mosque to speak to the imam. Only one imam told her to report it, all the others said to keep quiet about it, because it brings shame onto the community as a whole. So she took him to court, and he was done for it. He got sentenced, but she spoke to Auntie when she went back down to England to take him to court, and asked her, why did you not ever do anything? And she said, because I would rather he raped a child in the house than a white girl at the bottom of the street, because they were reported to the police.
God.
Jesus.
There's a little bit of, you know, mentality there that, yeah, really sick.
How can this woman kind of think it's okay to rape someone? It's better to rape this girl than that girl. I mean, what kind of mentality is that?
What kind of girl walks into a room?
Exactly. I mean, cultural. It's like
not even to anybody. You know,
yeah.
You would haul child off that child and.
If that was
daylights out of them.
That would, I mean, it doesn't matter what culture you come from. If you see your child raping someone, you'd stop them.
Yeah.
Don't you? I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you said she went and saw several imams, and only one recommended she go to the police. Did the other imams recommend, like, a community punishment for this guy, or what did they recommend?
That's the difference as well that I speak about quite a lot. So if a paedophile moved into my street, for talking sake, because I live in a really predominantly white area, and if a paedophile moved into my street and people found out about it, they would form, you know, huge crowds would gather. His house would be spray painted with pedo noms, and he would be hounded out of the street, especially if there's children on. You know, there's children on most streets, so yeah. He would be hounded out of the street. We don't welcome paedophiles in our community. We've got no time for them. And in the Pakistani Muslim community, they're very, very rarely hounded. They're still welcome at events. They still go to mosque. They still come round for dinner. They still go to weddings. They still go to functions. People might look at him, you know, and keep their children away. You know, I don't let your children go near him because he's a bit of a wrong one. But he still will. People still talk to him.
Is that true back in Pakistan as well? Or is it a case where the Muslim community here are trying to protect their image in front of the other groups so they avoid persecution, maybe?
Yeah.
It's the same back home?
Yeah, it's the same in Pakistan as well.
So this, like you said, that they're still welcome. So presumably they all know that he's a paedophile. They all know he's raping children. Is it? I mean, a lot of people say, we didn't know. We're so shocked. Blah 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 blah. Is that just lies? Does everyone know?
Yeah. It's like an open secret. So everybody, it's a really, really small, close-knit community. A lot of first cousin marriages.
Yeah.
So everybody knows everybody, everybody's related to everybody, and gossiping is just like a human trait. It's not specific to a certain race or culture. We all like to gossip.
Of course.
So everybody really does know everybody's. So it's an open secret. People will know. And people just keep quiet. And there's loads of people who say, "Oh, I don't know one single person that was sexually abused," and you all lie to make this. Pakistani Muslim Pakistani Muslim children aren't born with a special shield that protects them from paedophiles. Paedophiles exist in all cultures, all communities.
I'm thinking, what are the numbers? I mean, because when we think about paedophiles in British culture, we think of these sort of shadowy figures of darkness on the internet, sort of finding each other in chat rooms, and they're
outcasts.
They're outcasts. They're the sort of people that everyone hates, and they're not that many. But when we talk about the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs, we're talking about uncles and cousins and brothers all doing it together, having sort of.
It seems like they were easily able to find people who would help them.
Yeah, I mean, is it a bigger problem? Are there more numbers in the Pakistani community than in the British community?
No, I think there's a sickness. It's all sick. Of course, it's all sick.
Yeah.
To say to anybody that thinks white paedophiles aren't sick has a sickness themselves.
Of course,
it's sick as well. Yeah.
It's like that Labour MP. Can't remember her name. The one who. You remember there was a Labour MP that campaigned in the 70s for the paedophile information exchange?
Right, the child love stuff.
Oh my God! How? Anyway, sorry. That was.
Harmon or somebody that said children are not harmed.
Yeah.
Just sickness.
Yeah.
So really, really sick people. But yeah, with the Pakistani, and I think it's quite important to say that the majority of them are Mirpuris. So and the Mirpuri ones are the ones that are really big in first cousin marriages. So I don't know if there's something in their makeup or something happens or what.
Right.
Because the white paedophiles are sick, really, really sick. But a white paedophile wouldn't be able to go home and say to his dad, "Come on, there's a 10-year-old girl in this house. Let's get my uncle and let's get my granddad and let's all go around and sit and wait our turn to gang rape her." Because 9 times out of them, I don't even know what the figure is, but I think if a white paedophile went home and said to his dad, "Let's go and rape this little 10-year-old girl that's sitting in a flat waiting," the dad would probably knock him out.
Of course.
Yeah.
So there seems to be this, and where does it come from? I really, really have no idea, why. And we might never know because we can't talk about it. We can't talk about Pakistani Muslim rape gangs without having, Jimmy Savile thrown into it, the Catholic Church, and football coaches and all the rest of it. So until we can really discuss why, and to talk about Pakistani Muslim rape gangs in depth and to analyse it, and doesn't mean white men don't rape, doesn't mean white men aren't paedophiles, and that's the kind of thing people try to say to you, "Oh, you're only focusing on the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs," and I always say to people, "Well, you go and focus on the white paedophiles. This is where I choose to focus."
So, we're talking about it now. I mean, do you think there's going to come a time when we will go past the watershed moment and people will be able to openly talk about it? Because we seem to be moving a little bit, inch by inch, further towards talking about these things. Do you think there will come a moment where we can openly talk about that without the worry about, being called a racist, all this sort of nonsense, Do Do you think that's coming?
Has to come in time because
Yeah.
you know we've just now had Telford.
Yeah.
I've just interviewed a man from Rochdale, and it's still happening in Rochdale. You know, look at the scandal in Rochdale,
Yeah.
and it's still happening. So I think people are going to get really, really fed up and start speaking about it more.
So you're saying some quite I'm sure a lot of people in the Pakistani community are not happy with what you're saying. What sort of reaction have you been getting from your family and your friends?
I don't speak to anybody in my family, so I don't know what they're but do you know the really positive thing for me is that I get a lot of DMs. I speak to a few Pakistani men in Birmingham who are as sick about, you know, they're sick of it as well. They want something done, they want it all exposed, they give me loads of information about what's going on in Birmingham. And it annoys me sometimes because I think, well, come out and say it. Why do I have to be the one that's standing up and saying this? You stand up, it's your community, I'm not part of the community anymore. It's your community, stand up and speak for those that can't speak out. Cover up. So that kind of gives me hope. I do get lots of really positive, there's a large population of Muirburys in Birmingham. So that gives me hope that there are people out there that agree with me.
Yeah.
That they can't come openly out and agree with me because they're still part of that community. They still have to live in that community. They have to go to mosques. They have to go to events, functions, be part of it, and they can be shunned for it. So I do. There's a part of me that does understand. But I think, you know, if all of you stand up and speak out as children, at the end of the day, this is children we're talking about, you know.
Yeah.
To hell with grown men and their desire to be in power, to be a mayor, to be a councillor, to be an MP. And let's keep them happy because, you know, we're going to get votes and ignore children that are being raped and abused. So I do get positive, but I get 10 times more hate.
Really? So
I get told I'm a hate teacher, I'm Islamophobic, I'm a bigot, I'm a racist, I'm a coconut, I'm an Oreo. And I think if I was all of these things, would I care about Pakistani Muslim children?
what did Sadiq Khan say about you recently?
He read out one of my tweets as part of his hate speech conference in Texas, in America. So I was on a 7-day ban anyway, so my Twitter wasn't really that busy or anything. And then I woke up on Wednesday morning to all these notifications, like loads of them, and I was thinking, what the hell's going on Twitter? So I made a coffee and I came through and I sat at my desk and I was like, Sadiq Khan, why am I in tweets with Sadiq Khan? And it was a journalist, Nick, in America, that had obviously listened to his speech and clicked that it was my tweet that he read out. So he was tweeting out tweets and saying that people had called him a sparrow, people had called him a pigeon. Apparently these tweets don't exist. Yeah. So apparently these tweets don't exist. So they were
just making them up.
And
Okay.
the tweet he read out about mine, he had tweeted and said something about if you use a knife, then the full force of the law will be brought down on you. So I had asked him, if you use a knife to mutilate your daughter's vagina, will the full force of the law be brought down on you? Asking for a Muslim. I can't see anything hateful in that at all.
And that's all you said?
That was all I said.
I mean, it's such a good question because we've never had a conviction for FGM. Oh my... So...
So they tried to say the office replied, his office replied and said that it was somebody else's tweet he had read out, and this person with 25 followers Not that it matters how many followers you have, but this person with 25 followers had tweeted it to him. I had tweeted it to him, and this person had copied my tweet and tweeted it to him 6 hours later on some random thread. Nobody liked it, nobody retweeted it, and nobody replied to him. My tweet was liked 1,500 times and retweeted 800 times. So whose tweet would have came to their attention?
Yeah,
I think we know. So, I remember that Sadiq Khan said this. He was talking about your tweet. I think on the day or the day after that the Telford story broke, or it was in the news.
Yeah, same day.
Why was Sadiq Khan talking about hate speech and making up examples when actually he should have been talking about an enormous story that's coming out of his community? Why is he talking about your tweet?
To deflect, he went on and said, "I'm not a victim," and then whined like a little. Well, imagine going on and saying, and there were some really nasty tweets to him. I'll give him that. Somebody called him the C word. Somebody threatened to kill him. That's not nice. That's not nice, no matter who you are. But to read out a tweet saying, "I'm a pigeon, I'm a sparrow," cheap version of Jose Mourinho, which he does.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
he does look like that.
To listen to it. So, but you know what? I've been called the last 3 or 4 days since I did an interview with Tommy Robinson, and the amount of hate and like real nasty stuff people have commented. And do you know what I do? I mute them. I scroll by. I mute. Sometimes I'll engage because I just I can't help it. Like,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too easy.
Do not feed the troll. Do not feed the troll. And then I'm just like, I help myself. I could read out some of the things people say to me, but what's the point? You have a platform. You're the mayor of London. You've gone to America. You call yourself a feminist. You've gone to America. You're standing on this platform. The world is listening to you. If you don't care about white children, that's fine. Don't care about them. Children in your own community. These paedophiles, this Telford rape gang, they're not going to just be raping white children. They're going to be raping and sodomising children in your own community. You know, Rochdale, one of the paedophiles in Rochdale, his first victim was his friend's little girl under the age of 7. Where is that, you know? So if you don't care about white girls and you only care about your own, then stand up and be the voice for them. You talk about, I'm a feminist, I'm a feminist. Women in your community are being forced into marriage. Girls are being taken out of school, not being allowed to have an education, being forced to marry their first cousin from back home who they have absolutely nothing in common with. Two completely different cultures. She's been born and brought up here. He's over there. He doesn't give a damn about her. All he's thinking of is coming here and living in the West where money grows in trees, and, you know, he's just going to do what he wants to do, and she's just going to live a life of absolute misery, making chapatis and making babies. Speak for those people. That's real hate.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the point you said about muting people. Why do you think Sadiq Khan can't mute people that say nasty things to him online, name callers, or just block them? Why does he need to go to hate speech legislation and try and lock people up? Well,
because we're not allowed to criticise Islam. What else could it be? We're not allowed to talk about, you know, a lot of people. I got a 7-day ban and I had to delete tweets that said Muslim men anally rape Muslim girls so they can still be virgins on their wedding night. So I had to delete that tweet.
A factual tweet.
I don't see anything there hateful or inciting violence. I've not asked anybody to go and kill all Muslims, attack Muslims in the street. I've stated a fact.
So who are the sort of people working for Twitter that can't take a fact and try and ban people for writing a fact? I mean, that's a special kind of dumb.
With Twitter as well, as if they mass report you enough. So there's, you know, people on Twitter whose sole purpose on Twitter is to mass report anybody that says anything about Islam or Muslims. Right? And they mass report you. So I'm actually surprised I got a 7-day ban, because usually my accounts were just suspended.
We've talked about how bad it is, how, what can we do to make it better? What are the solutions, number one, to, this problem of inner Muslim community rape, Muslim men raping Muslim kids? How do we solve this problem?
By talking about it. We need to talk about it. We need people in the Muslim community to stand up and talk about it. When you see what happens in Pakistan, they don't leave that baggage when they check in at the airport. They bring that baggage with them. So if this is going on in Pakistan, then obviously it's going on here. And if these men are raping children, white children, of course they're raping their own children. So we need high-profile Muslim voices. So instead of standing up and crying Islamophobia, instead of standing up and crying, somebody wouldn't sit next to me on the bus because I'm wearing a hijab. Like, seriously, children in your community are being raped. And I talk about so many angry. The Pakistani man I was telling you about that I speak to in Birmingham, he tells me as well that domestic violence is rife in Birmingham. And you think, all these little boys growing up being sodomised by the imam at the mosque, by their grand teacher, by an uncle in the family, by somebody in the wider community. Who does he turn to? Who does he tell? So then he grows up and he's angry. Shit like that destroys people. Shit like that happening to children destroys you. And then to be forced into a marriage to your first cousin from back home, not being allowed to fall in love with who you want, not being allowed to speak about your feelings, then you're forced into a marriage. But who are you going to take it out on? You'll take it out on your wife. So there's all of that kind of thing as well that we don't discuss, that we're not allowed to talk about, because white men beat their wives as well. Yeah, we know. We try and talk about it. We talk about it. So I think the most important thing is to talk about it, and I think it has to be high-profile Muslim voices in the community that stand up and people like Tell Mama, instead of standing up and creating fake anti-Muslim stories, anti-Muslim hate, deal with the actual hate in your community towards your children. I think that's like a really, really important and more worthwhile.
Is there a single high-profile Muslim talking about this?
Besides you?
And ex-Muslims.
Oh yeah, that's right, sorry.
That's okay. I don't know. I think, there are sometimes a few people that will maybe share their story. In Pakistan recently, there was a young girl, Zainab, that was raped and murdered, and for a while there was outrage. There was the hashtag #MeToo. So loads of high-profile Pakistani women were tweeting the abuse they had suffered as children, and I thought, yeah, this is it. This is going to go somewhere, and then it just nothing.
No. Yeah.
Everybody stopped talking, and if we were really honest, it is a huge problem in our community. Our Pakistani community has been here since late 50s, early 60s, and we're now in 2018. How many children that are now adults and mothers and fathers and grandparents that have suffered, and nobody talks about it. So yeah, I think I really don't know any high-profile Muslim voice that continues to talk about it.
It's a depressing thought.
It is
really,
depressing, isn't it?
Let's move on. I just want to talk about what you're doing now. Tell me about your work with Alt News Media. What are you doing and why are you doing it? What is Alt News Media?
Alt News Media is, we're neither left nor right. We just want to tell the truth. So we want to get people from all sides sharing their stories and interviewing them. So I kind of am focusing on the rape gangs and interviewing people from Rochdale. I've got people from Rotherham. I really like writing, and I blog. I've written for loads of different online publications. I've written for Read Charlie. I used to write for Shazia Voices, and now I'm just writing for all news media. I just think it's really important. So when I started writing articles a couple of years ago, I used to get a lot of people contact me and say that your article's really good, you should try and get published in The Guardian, but they're not interested. Right, you know, I don't sit in the fence. I see it as it is, and I don't really care who I offend. If I'm writing, I try and write the truth. And if I offend somebody, then so be it. With all news media, I can say what I want, I can write what I want. I don't have to worry about somebody being upset. You know, people are going to get upset anyway. Yeah, and we're also launching a radio station, so that'll be really good. I've got loads of people have agreed to come on and be interviewed and just to talk to us, really. There'll be 3 or 4 of us on the panel.
Well, that's
so
great.
I'm really looking forward to that as well. Nervous and exciting.
And you told me you're also writing a book about just ridiculing things which people don't like being ridiculed.
Yeah, do you know, it was meant to be just Islam, and I'm writing it with somebody else, so there's 2 of us writing it, which is really good. He's really funny, he's got a great sense of humour, and he studied all religion. I obviously really just know Islam, and we were going to just do Islam, just, you know, something really, really funny. Let's laugh at Islam. Some things are just hilarious, you know, if you sleep in and you don't wake up for a prayer, the devil pees in your ear.
Is that true?
It's in one of the hadith. So, you know, just loads of like really, really ridiculous things. Like loads of people do not know how to live their life without consulting, you know, and it's things like you need to go in the bathroom with your left foot. If you go in the bathroom with your right foot, then the devil sits and watches you. There's prayers for when you have a shower. There's prayers for this. There's prayers for every single waking minute of your life. So rather than just doing it on Islam, we've decided that we'll just do it in all religions.
What are the funny things that you've... just give me some snippets of really funny things that you found out about in other religions too.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just kind of focusing on Islam. But the other religions are just as crazy, you know. Religion was created by man to keep people under control. People need to be controlled. People need to be told what to do, and religion was created, you know, God is a man.
Yeah.
So man created him, you know, heaven, regardless of what religion, really, heaven seems to be more for men. You know, in Islam, heaven for men, you've got your 72 virgins, you've got your really young boys, and your 72 virgins, every time you rape them, they'll just become virgins again. And women in heaven have a penis that doesn't bend. Women can pick one of them up in Ann Summers. And hellfire is full of women. Hellfire is full of women. It's like, do you know, just nonsense, absolute nonsense. So yeah, I get people need something, and people need to have faith, and people need to have something to comfort them, and that's all good. But when you start imposing it on others, is when it becomes a problem.
I think so. Okay, well, Shazia, I think we'll leave it there. I think we've talked about a lot, but there's a lot more I want to talk to you about. But I know you're going to be doing. You're busy today. You're having a very busy day. So. You've been our first interview ever on the James Okocha show.
Yeah.
Will you promise to come back one day when we're up and running again.
Yes, of course.
Because we'd love to have you back. Pardon?
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh,
absolutely. The
Yeah,
pleasure's
no
all
problem.
ours.
Yeah.
It's really great to have you on the show. And thank you. And I think that's it.
yeah, thank you very much.